So here's a few of our Icelandic chickens. These are my forage breed that I've got, and I don't specifically feed them at all. They are opportunistic, so they'll come in, you can see them, they're scratching through, and I want to keep them looking for food and tilling up stuff, and they come through and pick whatever the pigs don't eat, or sometimes they beat the pigs to it. And I've got a few little variations. There's a couple buff ones. I've got a couple black ones. Hey, what are you doing? She's the only white one that I've got. That's a hen. She almost looks like a Delaware. Then I've got like 3 of the blue coloration ones, and a couple of speckled ones. I think there might be a speckled one in here. Both of them are in there. I don't know if you can see that or not. So these guys, like I said, I don't specifically feed them at all, and they lay fairly well. Later on I'll show you some of their eggs, but for the size of the bird that these are and the size of the egg that they lay, they're probably some of the most prolific on their own. But if you factor in that I'm not really feeding them anything, this is a great variety or breed for just kind of like letting them do their thing. All I do is I let them out in the morning, I close them up at night, but that's just for security more than anything. You could totally let these just roost on their own. They actually roost really well on their own. They put themselves up every day when the sun goes down. They find their water. You could see, I see them actually drinking out of the pig wallow more often than I see them drinking out of any of the set waterers that I have out. Here's my other rooster that I got here is Rollo. So I kept one that was a light rooster and one that was a dark rooster in the event that I ever breed these guys. I've never actually bred them. They're 2 years old, a little over 2 years old now, and I will probably breed another generation here in the next year or so, just to keep it kind of fresh. So I want to show you, for those Icelandic chickens, here's a couple samples of the eggs. So this one here, and they can lay anywhere between a white shell, which this is an example, and this is a small egg from one of my smaller hens, and it's probably more on a hot day. This is abnormally small, but I wanted to kind of show you the variation. This is from one of the black ones there. They lay the biggest eggs, but this is pretty typical for them, which that would be a large graded egg. Might even be close to extra large, or jumbo or whatever. And so that's the cream color there, and then here's the white. But like I said, if you consider the fact that I'm not really feeding them, they're just kind of cleaning up whatever it is, whether it's the sprouted fodder, or just little hay bits and stuff like that, or they'll clean up after the other chickens. When I fed I go around and I feed all my layer chickens first, and then I let the Icelandics out, and they'll come in and clean up. So that large egg that I showed you was laid by either this one, or I don't see where the other black one is. But they lay the large cream colored ones. So as you can see, they scratch around quite a bit. They pick through all the poop of the pigs here in this little area and keep it relatively cleaned up for me. I have to come in here and with the manure fork and clear it out, but they're pretty good overall. But I would say one thing that they are problematic about is they will get into places you don't probably want them to get into. Like they'll jump over this fence. They come in here and usually they just dust bathe. Right now I don't have anything other than some potatoes growing in here right now, but they've dug up a potato several times over there that's just starting out, and they are very flighty, so don't try to really contain them. They're not I wouldn't, unless you're gonna have them in a coop all the time, which that's not what they're really designed for. Like I said, they're a foraging breed, they're a self-sustaining breed, and you get cheap or free eggs from them. Like in the summertime here, we'll have grasshoppers all in this tall grass here, and they go chase grasshoppers to their heart's content. And one thing is, they don't require a very large coop. This coop is like what, 3 feet by 4 feet roughly, and I've got a little roosting area here, and they will spread out when it's warmer, but it's like when it's really cold, they all will go into the coop there. So this is just a coop that I made primarily out of pallet wood and some old reclaimed lumbers, like the 2x6s that are on the bottom there. And even the side here is just like a piece of plywood. Oh, there we go. There's a bunch of eggs in there. It looks like somebody cracked one. There's a cracked one there. So, but you can see it's not, they didn't even really eat it. So I'll come through and clear these out, 6 of them. They don't take up a lot of space. They're pretty easy keepers. They will get in your way, and they will go where you probably don't want them to go. So those are the Icelandic chickens. And this was the first breed that I hatched out on the farm here, and I ordered some hatching eggs online and brought them in and had fairly good success. I think I got like 15 hatched out of 23, something like that. For my first attempt, I was fairly happy with that. There's one of my breast chickens there. That was my second hatch, is that breed there. And I'll go over those guys some other time here. So that wraps it up for the Icelandic chickens. It's going to be one of a series of what's on the farm, and so that I'll go through some of the other animals. Will be my breast chickens that I have, and then I'll highlight the 2 different types of pigs that I run. Primarily it's the American Guinea Hog is what I have, but as I said, I also have the Duroc and Blue Butt cross. So thanks for joining us today. Check out all of our other videos. Please give us a thumbs up, like, share, subscribe, and click the bell icon for upcoming videos. Thanks for joining us. Bye-bye. So I was just out doing chores and I saw one of my hens that I haven't seen her lay in the last few days coming out from over here. And I found a little stockpile of eggs. These have been here for a while. Now she's not actually laying these, or hasn't laid these, because she's an Americana. But she at least led me to them. This is one of the challenges of letting your chickens completely free range. Now these, I could tell you just by looking at them, these are all Icelandic eggs, and they haven't been laying much in the boxes up until recently because of the heat. So they're laying somewhere. It's just, there's just so many options of where no telling what will look good to them. And this is probably abandoned, honestly, at this point. So there's probably close to 2 dozen eggs. Actually, probably a little more than 2 dozen eggs. So I just heard one of my Icelandic hens squawking up a storm. And she was standing right over by this stack of old pallets here. And looking underneath there, I found there's actually 2 separate clutches in here. So there we go. We found 2 dozen earlier today over there, and not too far they started another little group. And there's actually one of these. This is one of my Americanas that hasn't been laying anywhere else. I was wondering where she was laying, if she was laying at all. So here we got another, looks like close to a couple dozen. So as I said, it's kind of the bitter part of letting them free range, is they don't always lay where you want them to. And fortunately, like I said, I don't feed this breed specifically. They come in and, hey Patches, they come in and they kind of clean up behind the pigs, and they'll go, if the other chickens aren't fast enough, they'll get some feed from them. But other than that, it's pretty much free eggs. So just telling everybody about how I ransacked their nest.